I wanted to make a quick follow-up video on the Afterburner with the view of the web server pages that are available on all devices that have an internet browser loaded onto them. I realize a lot of people are not using Android devices, and it's important for you to realize that you do not have to have an Android device in order to access this remotely. It's also important to point out that all of this information is available on the Afterburner itself, but of course you're reading a 1.3-inch OLED display, as I had mentioned in the previous video. So this is the home screen that it opens into when you launch the browser and type in the IP address. You can see that you have the desired temperature. You can see the mode. Mine is linear hertz. You can see the current temperature. You can see fan speed, fuel pump, frequency, and body temperature. When you click on the three bars in the upper left-hand corner, you can see the menu that pops up. We're going to take a brief walk through most of the items that are listed and display them for you as I continue. When you select the thermostat and cycling modes, this is the screen that loads. You can see the various modes of operation that the thermostat mode can operate under, and also the cyclic mode. You can see that I have linear hertz selected, which as a reminder just means as the set temperature is approached with the Afterburner that it starts to reduce the fuel pump output and the fan speed, and if it exceeds, in this case, 73 degrees, the heater will go into a suspension mode. Once the temperature drops to 69 degrees, it will go back through the startup procedure and continue heating. Of course, the benefit here is that you have reduced fuel consumption, you have a more stable temperature throughout your RV while it's operating in this mode, but also the ability for it to shut down or suspend if your desired set temperature is exceeded instead of continuing to run. I have temporarily enabled the frost mode so you can see some of the settings that are available here. It's important to note that this can be configured so that if the temperature is going to drop below freezing, that the heater will start to prevent that freezing from happening. It's covered in the manual in great detail. This is the environmental sensor screen. You can see the thermostat, the DS18B20, which is the primary temperature control device being used in my application. The sensor number 4 that's listed is the BME280, which is the baro sensor. It's a combo baro sensor, temp sensor, and hygrometer. That's not being used. That's actually inside the Afterburner controller. In fact, when you look down just below, you can see the relative humidity that it is measuring. The altitude compensation can be configured as you see in the bottom part of the screen. In the earlier versions, all of this had to be done specifically on the display of the Afterburner. Here's where you can see the programmed frequency and fan speeds. This is a view of the timers and actually the clock. So you can see that at the top that my date is 2/11/2024. Of course, European time format, date is first followed by month and year. I wish this would be adopted globally. And I can see that after I updated the firmware in my Afterburner that the time is off by quite a ways, by 5 hours, because it's running, I believe that would be on Australian time, or maybe just the GMT standard. Here's where you would do your tuning. This is how you would unlock. You'd have to insert the code if you click on unlock so that you can tune the heater for the upper and lower limits, which is how you get the fuel mixture correct so that it burns clean. You can see the rest of the settings here. Again, all this information is clearly explained in Ray's manual. This is a view of the GPIO configuration screen. You can see the inputs, outputs, and the analog input. It is a password protected screen, so if you click on it, you're going to have to insert the password to allow them to be changed. In this screen, I have unlocked the fields of the GPIO with the password, and these are the selections that are available to you. This is a view of the system details screen, and it just merely displays to you all of the pertinent information about the system, runtime, version, system voltage, etc. In this final screen, the communication settings or COM settings is where you would configure the MQTT broker.